March, starting off a new year, and we had new artists come in, brand new business people and artists from all across the globe coming in, interviewing and doing the promoted Boss Ladies radio show services. So it was simple, awesome. And you heard different sounds from business to entertainment. And it's all in one show. And I appreciate that because it developed my skills as a songwriter. Because if I could build this, I can build a song. So it's like building something. And then music indie review is a way to develop those skills. Like, okay, this is what I could have done if I would have did it this way. So the songs to me tonight have been very relatable. It's helping the story go forward in a good way. And it's showing a lot of amazing talent. So I agree with you, King, loving the music tonight. There's nothing to review. Everything is tight and, the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, according to our HR department. So let's give Mr. King a round of applause for that, because that is really, really great. He definitely takes care of our humming resources, our musical resources, and our business. And we're going to get more into that as well. I just am talking a little bit about that, because I want to make sure that we're all on the same page about what Music Indie Review is all about. Your honest opinions, your professional opinion, from lyrics to beats to whatever, if you want to jump on it or not. Do you want to work with this person? Let's make it fun, y'all. So that's what it's really about, just a review of everybody. And I do want to talk about some stats for season 1 as well, from the Boss Lady radio show portion of this dope episode, as everybody says. So, top shows of the week for January was Make Your Best 2022 Music. It had 7 plays, 41 downloads, and counting. Okay, so shout out interlude to those artists that played on that show. In February, the highest show was Justice for Pamela Smith featuring the Phoenix, had 14 plays and 44 downloads. Awesome job. And that was a great discussion on what we had, and she's still currently working with Pamela with this situation that we were discussing about her life and how things are going with her case with the salt shakers. So definitely tune into those episodes if you haven't seen them. Those were the top shows. They were top shows of the week like twice. So good job, everybody, for those of us that played on those shows and supported as well in the chat room. And finally, March. Why Finished Songs Are Hard. That had 8 plays and 26 downloads. So shout out and salute to the top shows of season 1, y'all. You might be on it, so make sure you play those back. So we got on Boss Lady Radio Show now, because it's 2 of them. Boss Lady Radio Show is for independent artists. Boss Lady Show is for local independent entrepreneurs. So we're talking about the independent artists. And the top show for January was Make Your Best 2022 Music. February was Justice for Pamela Smith. And March was Why Finished Songs Are Hard. Yes. And on that note, we'll be talking about Boss Lady Show in the second half. Their top shows of the week for January, February, and March. I am so excited to see that we're going from 20 likes, plays, and downloads a week to about 50 to 60 downloads, because the downloads is going to bring us more attention and more exposure in terms of those spins and the chats in the chat room. So you are bringing new content The more you chat in the chat room, that's why I always say more chats, more spins. The more you're in this chat room, the more network you're gonna bring to yourself, the more people are gonna reach out to you. So as we're doing EDU, just write down your thoughts and your experiences as far as being played on this show. Have you been interested or approached by anyone that may have heard you and want to work with you, want to, review that also. So without further ado, let's get some EDU in our lives. 5 ways to develop your skills as a songwriter. We're going to find that at blog.reverbnation.com/03/5-ways-developed-skills-songwriter. Despite what you may have heard, songwriting is absolutely a skill you can improve with time and practice. Having a natural knack for making music is clearly a huge advantage as a songwriter, but the truth is that a willingness to work hard, ask questions, and be willing to fail in music is arguably a bigger asset. Here are 5 ways to develop your skills as a songwriter. Learn to listen to music critically. If you're having trouble dialing in on a unique and consistent sound as a music maker, it could be because you haven't learned to listen to music critically. This does not mean checking out a song and deciding if you like it or not. It means listening consciously to the music and deciding what specifically about it works or doesn't work for you. If a certain lyric makes you want to weep or roll your eyes, ask why. If a vocal melody sounds transcendent or predictable to your ears, put some real thought into why you feel the way you do. Then, decide what you take away from your listening experiences that can be applied to the ways you write your own music. This is a habit that will improve your songs in a huge way. Write new songs and change up your songwriting process. This is an exercise that can develop your songwriting skills by showing you that different ways you can approach making music will produce dramatically different results. When one approach falls flat, keep working until you find something you know really works. It's easy to try the same predictable way of doing things in music over and over again, but what if the way you do things isn't creatively inspiring or wastes time logistically? Trying out different approaches will not only give you songwriting experience, but will also show you the best way to create. When it's time to spread the word about your music, it's time to look at Promote It. Brought to you by Boss Ladies Radio Show Services. Create monthly and yearly songwriting goals. All the items on this list are helpful, but this is really the only one you absolutely have to remember. The only way to get better at songwriting is to write loads and loads of music. Spend as much time as you can writing songs, and eventually you're probably going to write some good songs, and eventually maybe even some great ones. Some musicians naturally get to this point, but it takes others lots of work to get in the habit of creating consistently. To ensure you're writing a lot of music, try creating benchmarks for specific numbers of songs you want to write in a period of time like a week or a month. If you follow through with your goals, you will give yourself some much needed songwriting experience. Take every opportunity you can to collaborate. You'll never have the entire musical picture as just one songwriter, and this is the case even for the most successful musicians you think of. Working with other artists is almost always a good idea if you're inexperienced and working towards developing your skills as a songwriter. You'll be exposed to new ways of doing things and will develop your creative talents and interpersonal skills at the same time. Listen to old releases and nail down what you like to improve. To develop better music, it's a good idea to listen back critically to the songs you've already released. A lot of artists cringe at their old music, especially their first few songs, but most can't say exactly why. Figuring out the strengths and weaknesses in your old music can help you build on what's good about your songs and avoid previous mistakes. You might decide your voice needs to work or that your recordings are muddy or that your chord choices are the strongest elements of your songs. These sorts of takeaways are important, especially if you know your music could be better and aren't sure how. Devoting lots of time to making music is essential for developing your songwriting chops, but it's important to note that how you spend your time is important. Employing these 5 strategies can help strengthen your skills and broaden your experience as a songwriter. Patrick McGuire is a writer, musician, and human man. He lives nowhere in particular, creates music under the name Straight White Teeth, and has a great affinity for dogs and putting his hands in his pockets. And that is our EDU for our live show. Yeah. I mean, it's easier than what we think sometimes, in terms of trying to write a song. Like, oh my God, I got to get it done in so many, but just work on it as you go through life. And that's what I learned. And that's how I was able to collab much more easily than actually have to sit there and go through a beat process. Then once you get that, get the verse process. Then once you do that, get the vocal process. Then you do that. Then you drop it in the studio. Hey, man, we got all these musical apps, right? That we can record on. And we can incorporate and upload the track that we're recording on and add it. And I'll share this with you. BandLab is the easiest way to resources, as far as resources is concerned, to actually collab with other artists, especially if they're far away. I mean, it's one thing if you got a couple in your own city and y'all can get together like that, but it's another thing if you can't. And my experience is mostly the ones that can't, like fly out here and really do something. That would be great, but the timing is not always feasible. So since that's most of the time at this time, I think BandLab is the best way to get in gear, listening to the song, and you're actually have that feeling that you're in the studio with this person. So all that I'm a mess up and I got to go back and erase stuff, just freestyle it. I think when I did my best in the studio was when I freestyled it first. And it meant, and it sounded like it meant, and it sounded like it went with it. So I did it. And the turnout was even better than I could ever imagine. I thought that everybody was going to hate it. It didn't sound right to me. But when I put it in front of the others, they were with it. So you never know. And I think that's a great skill to have. It's not easy at the time because you don't have, you didn't have this information before. Or you had this information before, but you wasn't using it. So I could definitely appreciate a blog like this. So yeah, we're going to get back to the jams because we started off with the first half with the ladies. So the second half is definitely going to be the fellas. Up next after that Drazy drop, we got some Brother Rob and we got some TOHP and some Larry D and NQ from along the way. Long, long ways away. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Don't go nowhere now.
Hey yo, it's your boy Drazy, CEO, DJ, and programmer with Dre's Radio Cafe. You got a banging cut that you want to be heard? Got a show coming up? A gig? You want to sell some products? You name it. Send it to Dre's Radio Cafe. Dre's Radio Cafe is a 24/7 internet radio station designed with you in mind. By being heard by 150,000 listeners every month. What does that mean to you? That means more than just going to YouTube, more than just going to Google, more than just having SoundCloud up, more than just having any of them other programs set up, alright? So check this out. What I want you to do is send your banging cuts, your ads, anything that you have involved that you want to get involved with to DREZEY21@yahoo.com. That's DREZEY21@yahoo.com. That's Dre's Radio Cafe, 24/7 radio, designed with you in mind. What y'all sipping on? Let's go.
Peace, my dear brothers and sisters. This is Brother Rob, the Poet Brown, or Brother Rob if you don't feel like saying the whole thing. Come take some time out to check out the interview I did with the beautiful Dee Dee Ski of Boss Lady Radio, award-winning Boss Lady Radio, that is. I'm a spoken word artist from out of the DM.